Actually, I was a football player. The coaches from Minot State, the football coaches and the basketball coaches came down through Youngstown, Ohio, where I grew up, and were looking for athletes to come to school. And my sister actually was in Belcourt teaching, and she was a speech therapist. So one thing led to another. I wanted to get out of Youngstown, Ohio. It was kind of a dying town, and spread my wings, so to speak, and so I moved to Minot. Anyway, I came to Minot fall of 1977. Had a really interesting start. First live practice where we had full contact, I hit the starting all-conference tailback from the year before, blew his knee out. And back in those days, when you blew your knee out, you were done. And so I was not looked upon too favorably by a number of people, including a lot of the local guys. And it really contemplated going home. And I went and took a shower, and it was kind of weird. I looked down and there was some feet kind of stepping in the shower. That was the old dorms. We had communal showers, and it was the coach saying, I hear you're going to leave, and that you're upset that this happened, And I said, I'm thinking. He said, don't leave. He said, we want you to stay. It's not your fault. Accidents happen or injuries happen, so on and so forth. And so that started my journey. My job here at the bank is business development, which really is a number of things, reaching out to new customers, trying to enhance existing customer relationships, and really just being visible for the bank, not only statewide, but we've got offices in Twin Cities and Eden Prairie, and being down there. My previous career, which I retired from, I spent a lot of time in the city, so it worked kind of well for me to expand our relationships down there. Had a lot of contacts throughout the upper Midwest, and so really I spent a lot of time with that. I also oversee all the facilities, which is as simple as making sure the snow gets cleared. If somebody's got a leak somewhere, that's all comes to me, and I take care of those kinds of things. I look to the past. I've had the opportunity to go to work for a company called Odell & Associates, which were the advisors to Investors Real Estate Trust, which was a publicly traded New York Stock Exchange listed company out of small town North Dakota. And it gave me the opportunity to travel all over the country and spend time on Wall Street and just do things that I would have never envisioned. And I owe a lot of that to my Minot State education. It's just been a springboard for me to allow me to do some fantastic things. So. Couple things. One was Dr. Shirley at the time was president of Minot State and came and told me, I think you'd be good on the higher ed board. And as I thought about that, and as I touched on earlier, being a graduate of Minot State, I was really proud of my degree and was able to use that around the country as I was sitting in meetings with all the Ivy League guys, looking at each other and like, who's this guy from Minot, North Dakota? Does he really know anything? And it was, it made me pretty proud of being a Minot State grad and University System grad. So it gave me an opportunity to kind of give back to the state, and I've tried to live by that as I've been on the board. What can I do for not only Minot but the state in general? I was lucky enough to, when I met my wife, I found out that her family was, very community oriented or philanthropic, and they were willing to help people. And I enjoyed doing that, and so I was lucky enough to kind of be married into it. But as I was married into it, I just kind of, it took a hold. My previous boss, a gentleman by the name of Roger Odell, was kind of the same way when he first hired me. He said, you need to get out and meet the community and get a feel for it. And I've enjoyed that. Any opportunity I get to help or to contribute, I look to take advantage of that. But now when I look at it and recognize the impact that higher ed can have on a student's life, whether they're freshman, 18-year-old, or 35-year-old, or whatever it happens to be in that that age span, you've got an opportunity to help somebody to better themselves to move forward. We've got a great system. We've got an opportunity to impact students to help the country going forward, and we do a great job of it, and we should give ourselves more credit. But then I go down to UND and see the stuff that's going on, where we're launching a satellite or two and from University of North Dakota. And you go down to Valley City and they're training teachers, and NDSU is responding to their needs. Mine State's got the only addiction program in the state, and they need to figure out a way to fulfill that. Williston's helping in the oil patch. So, I think the fear that the system is struggling, like I said earlier, I think to the contrary, that we're doing a lot of good stuff. I think, and on repeated occasions, members of the MEC Compact have come up to me and have said, how do you guys do it? How do you have such a great system? And it's kind of fun to be at the top of the list when we're looked down upon because we're, supposedly a rural state, and how can you know anything? But we run a good, strong system. And the ability to learn from them, the presidents, I'm very impressed and happy with the presidents. To learn from an Andy Armacost or Dave Cook or Steve Shirley, how the higher ed system works and their different viewpoints on it, allows me to shape my thought around higher ed. I think that's probably the most exciting thing. And now having a new chancellor, being able to learn from two very intelligent men, but different focuses, just to sit back and soak it all in.